Okay, welcome back to members of 121 Community Church in Grapevine, Texas, in our ongoing study in the letters of John. We're going to take a look at our final lesson for 2 John. It's only 3 verses, so it's going to be a very short lesson, but let's go to block 1. Verses 11 and 12, deny fellowship to the Gnostics. Verse 11, to welcome is to participate in the evil deeds of such a person. Anyone greeting such a person has fellowship in their works of their evil. Verse 12, although I have much to write to you, I hope to come and talk to you so that our joy may be complete. Having many things to write to you, I hope to come before you that our joy may be complete. And then Kruse, Christian greetings carried recognition of good standing. And cross-reference Luke 10:6, if anyone there shares in peace, your peace will rest upon them. True believers are to deny fellowship to the Gnostics. And by meeting them face to face, John hopes to ensure that true believers are walking in truth. And then block 2, our final verse, the closing greeting. The children of your elect sister send you their greetings. The children of your sister greet you and send their respects. John conveys the greetings of the members of the Ephesus church, of which he himself is a member. Now, block 3, we're just going to look at the summary that Kruse gives to the entirety of 2 John. This brief letter highlights the key issue of walking in the truth and remaining faithful to the gospel message, which includes affirming Christ's incarnation in the flesh. Also, the importance of loving fellow believers. Then, true believers can discern false teaching, because the Gnostics were running beyond the gospel. And the gospel truth is always to be taken up afresh and applied in a practical way. So, a little 7-point summary of the entirety of 2 John. So we have covered, this is the 25th lesson. Basically, we covered the 5 chapters in 1 John. We picked up a 6th chapter here in 2 John. So that's going to wrap up 1 John and 2 John. We begin the year with our quarterly Bible study. And we will discuss our next project in our next meeting, which will include perhaps another study in theology. We'll have to discuss that and figure out what we're going to do. But in this particular lesson, if you go to block 1, the key element there was verse 11, that anyone who greeted a person and welcomed them into their home, they were more or less saying, yes, you are affirmed as a true believer. John says, don't welcome the Gnostics then, because they are not true believers. So don't welcome that type of a person into fellowship, because you'll be having fellowship with someone against Christ. You will be having fellowship with someone who is against Christ. And that has to be prevented. And then he's writing from the church he is over in Ephesus. Remember, he was the archbishop or the regional elder for all 7 churches in a circle around Ephesus, the 7 churches that he addressed in his Revelation. So he's writing from the congregation within which he is also a member. That's what we find in verse 13 in block 2. So he is conveying greetings from more or less the home church, the regional authoritative church. And the 7-point summary, I think, was very well done by Kruse, because it's just 1 chapter, but it is all about walking in the truth of affirming Christ came in the flesh. Remember, the Gnostics said that Christ was a phantom, not truly flesh, not truly incarnate. John says The doctrine of incarnation is central to the truth of the gospel. Jesus came as Son of Man. To deny that he came as Son of Man is to deny the gospel and to be against Christ. The incarnation, Christ incarnate, is everything. It is core truth. And we affirm as true believers the incarnation of the living God through Christ, his Son. It's central to the gospel to affirm the incarnation of Christ, which means the incarnation of the divine God through the Son. God incarnate through Christ incarnate. The Gnostics said Christ only appeared to be incarnate. He actually was a phantom. That's the word they used. He was actually a phantom, a non-flesh person. But true believers, John says, will affirm emphatically, with conviction, Christ came in the flesh as Jesus. Christ came in the flesh as Jesus, and that cannot, will not, and never will be compromised by true believers. That concludes a beautiful lesson, and I'll read through the 7-point summary of 2 John one more time. This brief letter highlights the key issue of walking in the truth, remaining faithful to the gospel message, which includes affirming Christ's incarnation in the flesh. Also, the importance of loving fellow believers. John 13:34, a new commandment I give to you, love one another as I have loved you. Then true believers can discern false teaching, because the Gnostics were running beyond the gospel, adding to the gospel. And the gospel truth is always to be taken up afresh and applied in a practical, true way. Beautiful conclusion, and we will discuss our next project in our next life group meeting.